Greetings and salutations, fellow Tarnished, or should I say, future Nightfarers. It's time to get hyped because Elden Ring Nightreign is real. It's coming fast and it's bringing with it 8 deadly new ways to absolutely obliterate your enemies, and maybe your friendships on the battlefields of Limveld. These new starting archetypes, they're not just classes. No, my friends, they are Nightfarers. Dark champions forged in shadow and war, each one with a playstyle, aesthetic, and vibe all their own. In this video, we're going deep. I'm ranking all 8 Nightfarer classes, not based on power, but on something far more important: how likely I am to play them, and how much chaos each one can bring to your squad. We're talking abilities, pros and cons, how they shake up the meta, and where they fall on the hype scale from meh to immediate main. And you, yes you, are going to drop your rankings in the comments when we're done. One real quick thing before we start is that a couple of the characters in this list have not fully been revealed to us yet. So in the cases for both Executor and Revenant, everything is speculation. And also I tried to come up with some cool sounding stuff for the characters based on what we know. Since we are already speculating, let's give them some lore while we're at it, So sharpen your blades, prep your flasks, and let's dive into the dark with the 8 Nightfarers of Nightreign. Coming in at number 8, the least likely for me to use on this particular list, the most blunt force Nightfarer on the list, the Raider. If you've ever two-handed a great club and yelled, "Bring it, bitch!" and charged straight into a boss with zero concern for your HP bar, this one's for you. The Raider is pure violence. There's no trickery here, no ranged pokes, no sneaky buffs, just meat, metal, and momentum. You trade finesse for unrelenting carnage. This class doesn't dodge, it lunges. It doesn't block, it shatters. Think of it as a love child of a barbarian and a crucible knight. Expect heavy, hyper-committed attacks that turn the battlefield into a demolition site. Dual wield great axes? Check. Shoulder charge to flatten smaller enemies? Absolutely. And that roaring leap attack we've seen in the trailers? That's the Rager's signature death from a move opener. Coming at you like Macho Man Randy Savage from the top rope. Oh yeah! Their signature skill, so to speak, is called Retaliate. It's a 2-part stomp. The first stop grounds you and buffs your posture, baiting an enemy to hit. If you get struck during this animation, the second stomp erupts into a devastating shockwave punch that craters the earth and breaks enemies' guard wide open. There's a mini game here, tank just enough damage to power it up, but not so much so you eat dirt. It rewards aggression and timing, which is rare for strength-focused archetypes. His passive skill allows it so you don't get knocked on your ass while you're using Retaliate, which is a great little combo with the Retaliate. Now on to the ultimate move, Totem Stella. He plants a jagged, cursed totem into the ground like a titan planting a flag. This creates an AoE shock zone, boosts nearby allies' poise, stamina regen, and causes a mini aftershock that makes enemy positioning a nightmare. Plus, it gives the Raider the high ground. Yes, actual elevation control. Think of it like building a mini stage in the middle of the fight, where you're the boss. The pros of this one are insane burst potential, especially in 1v1 fights where timing Retaliate can delete opponents. IGN mentioned something about remembrances in his reveal trailer, and seems like he might be good in these style of fights. A high poise makes you a frontliner from hell, and AoE control with the totem is great in team fights. However, not everything is good. The cons are zero subtlety. Every enemy will see you coming from a mile away. No ranged options. If it flies or dodges well, you're fucked. And team utility is limited. You're a wrecking ball, not a support. Except with your arena changing ult. Look, I respect the Raider. Some of my best friends are Raiders. However, it's the kind of class that makes you feel like the God of War until you whiff one heavy and get turned into a pancake by a carrion knight. I see this class being amazing in duels, boss rushes, especially if poise gets a meta buff in Nightreign. As for me, I need more speed, more flair. Raider is the steak, and with the sizzle too. Raider mains sound off. Tell me what your wildest build ideas are, especially if they involve pure strength and no clothes. You know who you are. Sliding in at number 7 is one of the most mysterious and potentially lethal Nightfarers, the Executor. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't some bulky knight swinging a hammer of justice. No, the Executor is something else entirely. Think precision over power, judgment over fury, parries over panic rolls. If Sekiro was your favorite FromSoft game, then Executor is your spiritual home. This class is built around precision punishes, timing, spacing, and absolute discipline. It doesn't rush in, it waits, it reads, and when the enemy overextends, it executes. Imagine you're facing a bell-bearing hunter. You dodge his first combo, step into range, and just as the second blade sweep comes down, you activate your demonic sword. The screen slows, a flash of red, your blade erupts upward in a geyser of blood and light. That's the kind of moment the Executor lives for. So let's talk about the signature skill, Demonic Sword. Based on what we know, this would be a skill that parries anything, melee, magic, even certain projectiles. If triggered successfully, you can deflect and nullify the incoming damage, which would lend itself into making this the Sekiro-like character, with its incredibly tight and fast combat system full of parries and punishes. Don't mess up or you will shame your family, yourself, and your cow. This isn't a reactive parry like the regular guard counter, it's a commitment. You have to activate this skill ahead of time, and mistiming it will get you punished hard. Now let's talk about the ultimate aspect of the Crucible, the Beast. You become a giant angry primordial beast. We don't know what this form is yet, but just imagine turning into the Guardian Ape from Sekiro. The pros of this one, it has the highest skill ceiling probably of any Nightfarer. Mastering parries here would equal a sweat god, and incredible dueling potential. The cons, very timing dependent. Mistakes are heavily punished. Weak against mob swarms. This is a duelist, not a crowd controller, and a high learning curve. The Executor's aesthetic screams Gothic Samurai, a masked face with an eerie black-bladed katana and runes glowing down the back of their armor. Their origin story, allegedly tied to like a forgotten order that once passed judgment on demigods who defied the Erdtree's true law. There's even more speculation that this class is connected to the Two Fingers, possibly serving as a rogue agent who split off during the Shattering. The vibe is honor in the dark. There's a righteousness here, but it's twisted. You're not saving the world, you're punishing it. So why is Executor only number 7 for me? Because while I love the idea, I'm not always in the mood to parry for my life. I can see myself trying this class on a second, third playthrough, when I want a challenge run or feel like dueling a boss in the new marshes at 3 AM. But for day 1 chaos, for spontaneous dungeon dives and squad brawls, Executor feels too intense. I like my builds a little bit more margin for error. Or as that one guy in the comments is bound to say, it's a skill issue that I'm crippled by. Still, if you're the type who only parries and laughs at dodge spammers, this is your class. Go full anime with it, and send me clips when you pull off a perfectly timed judgment kill. At number 6, we meet the most unhinged, untrustworthy, and downright sinister Nightfarer of them all, the Recluse. This is your usual robe-wearing spell slinger, but with a twist. Crystal staffs and majestic comics look like child's play to this caster. The Recluse is a ritualist, an FP-hungry scientist of suffering, who drains, manipulates, and recycles magic energy from anyone, friend or foe. She doesn't just cast spells, she manufactures consequences. This is Elden Ring's version of a plague doctor, crossed with a Lovecraftian junkie, and I kinda love it. The Recluse is a mid to back line spellcaster, but again, with that twist. Rather than simply managing FP through flasks and talismans, they use a mechanic called elemental defense, tied to their unique ability to absorb FP. Every spell, every concoction is drawn from a shared pool of essence, which can be stolen from enemies and allies. This one's passive ability is called Elemental Defense, where you collect elemental residues to replenish your FP. The signature skill on this one, Magic Cocktail. Combine elemental residues into different powerful spells. Oh, well that's very basic sounding, huh? Well, pretty much what happens is you pull magic essence out of your foes and your allies alike in order to cast powerful effects. The main downside to this is the crazy effects that can happen from the different types of essence drawn. And her ultimate art, the Soul Blood Song. It affixes blood sigils to enemies that restore the health and magic of Nightfarers who attack them. What is more metal than blood sigils that heal you and your allies by beating down your foes like a medieval death metal band? Not much. The pros with this one is high, and I mean high AoE potential, resource manipulation, If you're skilled enough, you can just cast forever, and you can act as an anti-mage by draining spellcasters. But then there's the cons. You're very squishy and have poor mobility, heavily dependent on party positioning, and you may annoy teammates by not ulting at the right time. The Recluse's look is unforgettable. Long, soot-stained robes covered in arcane script. A beautiful woman with all she has out in the open, looking like she belongs to the Drow of the Forgotten Realms with her white hair and dark skin. Some people theorize they're former Carian scholars who were exiled for breaking the laws of sorcery, diving into the forbidden overlap between spiritual energy and alchemy. And wouldn't that be a nice twist on the kicked out of wizard school trope? Their magic feels dirty. Even the animations are creepy. Runes that crawl like bugs, spells that fizz instead of boom. They're not trying to impress you, they're trying to decompose you. There's also people suggesting the Recluse might be part of a cult, experimenting on the dying embers of the Erd Tree in the hopes of bending FP itself to their will. So why does this casting mommy sit at number 6? Because while I love the creativity and creep factor, it's a tough class to love full time. In solo play, you're fragile and resource starved unless you master your spell economy. In co-op, you're literally siphoning your allies, which could make you the hero or the reason they hate you. But when it works, when you drain a room dry and unleash a forbidden ritual that melts the entire mob pack, that's dopamine. The Recluse is a class I'll play when I want to be the wild card. Not the hero, not the villain, not the madman, not the mama in the back who saves or dooms the team with one risky cast. If you love managing risk, dancing the edge of betrayal, casting spells no sane mage would touch, this is your Nightfairer. At number 5, we find the most noble, most immovable, and let's be honest, most underappreciated class in the Nightreign roster, the Guardian. This isn't your average turtle tank. This is a walking fortress, a mountain in motion, a blessing and a curse to whatever dares cross its path. If you're the kind of player who runs towards danger so your squad doesn't have to, Guardian is calling your name. The Guardian is a frontline enforcer built for absorbing punishment, body blocking bosses, and controlling crowds like a human battering ram. What makes the Guardian special isn't just their defense, it's their zone control, and the fact that the character is apparently an Aarakocra from D&D. This class can dispute, displace, and deny enemy positions with whirlwind abilities and stagger fields. Imagine you're in a chaotic fight, your Ironeye is cornered, your mage is out of flasks, and the boss is winding up some Erd Tree smashing AoE. You step in, shield raised, and absorb it all without flinching. Now imagine you uppercut the same boss 10 feet in the air afterward. That's Guardian energy. So what is the signature skill? It's called Whirlwind. With a spinning charge, the Guardian knocks all enemies in a cone skyward. Then gravity does its thing and slams them to the ground. Its crowd control beats payback, and it creates space where there was none. It allows your allies to juggle your enemies, as we saw in the trailer. Better yet, enemies launched into walls or objects take bonus impact damage. That's right, your environment is now your weapon. Your passive is called Steel Guard, and this class could have been called Ironclad because just existing they are defense gods. This passive has them plant their feet and makes them naturally have a more powerful block. Oh, and that ultimate, we've seen it a couple of times. It's called Wings of Salvation. The Guardian slams their great shield into the ground, creating a Radiant Aegis field. Allies take 50% less damage, regen stamina faster, and become immune to stagger. Enemies caught in the blast are knocked back, creating the ultimate reset button. This move changes the tempo of entire boss fights and massive enemy encounters, whether you're saving a downed ally, tanking a swarm, or buying time to reposition. Wings of Salvation is a game changer. What are the pros in this class? Well, it's got the best crowd control in the Nightfairer lineup so far. It's got team saving utility, and high poise and high survivability. The cons are slow attack animations, low solo kill potential, and weak against ranged harassment. Can feel passive if you're not strategic. Visually, the Guardian is regal and intimidating. Massive tower shield, crested helm kind of thing, armor etched with the faded golden script, just screams remnants of an old order trying to outlast the night. From what lore we've seen, Guardians are former Oathbound Knights of the Erd Tree, those who refused to fall even after the Erd Tree dimmed. Now they walk the shadowy runes, still defending, even as their god has forsaken them. Some wear cracked emblems of ancient houses, others bear tree-like growths on their shields, hinting that they may have fused with some dying branches of the Ur tree itself, blending flesh and bark into eternal defense. It's tragic, it's noble, it's terrifying. So why does the Guardian land at 5th? Because while I respect the role, hell, I need someone like this on my team, I don't always want to be that person. Guardian gameplay is often reactive. You're not chasing kills, you're stopping death. You're the player who saves the squad, but you're rarely going to top the damage charts. And sometimes, that's exactly what a run needs. Other times, I just want to go nuts and leave the support role to someone else. Still, when you're standing tall, shield raised, enemies bouncing off like rain on steel, and your team survives because you stood your ground, that's a hero moment. Guardian delivers those every time. So if you love selfless play, control builds, or just being an indestructible legend, the Guardian is your guy. Coming in at number 4 is a class that makes you want to parkour off a cliff, throw a sword into someone's skull mid-flip, and then yank another enemy into a lava pit, just because you can. This is WYLDER, and if Guardian is the wall, WYLDER is the wrecking ball. Imagine everything you love about agile on-the-fly combat. Now give it a grappling hook. Then give that grappling hook combat functionality. And that's WYLDER. WYLDER is the ultimate jack of all trades, a scrappy mobile hybrid who blends light weapons mastery with trickster mechanics. He's not as tanky as Guardian, he's not as surgical as Duchess, and not as much as a glass cannon as Ironeye. But what he is fun. Fast rolls? Check. Light armor? Check. Grappling hook that lets you yoink enemies into your face or launch yourself across the battlefield like a madman? Oh, you know that's a check. He's got a bit of rogue, a bit of fighter, and a splash of monk energy, and he thrives in chaos. Alright guys, his signature mechanic is the hookshot chain, and let's talk about that grappling hook. Because let's face it, no one cares about anything else this man brings to the table. WYLDER's defining tool lets him pull enemies into close range, zip to terrain for fast repositioning, combo mid-air with unique jump attacks, interrupt enemy casters or snipers by closing the distance instantly. Think about it, you're zipping from mob to mob like a Batman-Spider-Man hybrid, just comboing all your foes into early retirement. And it gets better. If you grapple to an enemy just after dodging, you gain critical entry window, a boosted strike that deals poise damage and can even stagger mini-bosses. Oh, did I say the grappling hook was the only thing that we'd care about in this kit? His passive is called Sixth Sense. This man is too badass to die. He literally gets one oopsie daisy with his passive stopping him from dying a single time. And his ultimate is called the Onslaught Stake. This is a powerful single attack that launches an iron stake with a great explosion. We've all seen the big fuck all explosion that the trailer shown, and all I can think of is if I grapple hook in and blow the back out of whoever I'm fighting, I'll feel like a god. And we've come back to this part, the pros: insane mobility, great single target burst, grappling adds massive tech and creativity, strong against mobs and bosses alike, perfect for players who love freedom of movement. Cons: lower base defense, grapple requires good timing to maximize, it's not as strong in group support, and the damage falls off in long-range fights. WYLDER's gear feels ordered, if not a little unkempt. Think chainmail with a halberd, but with torn sashes. Worn-torn armor that's clearly been held together despite the mass of fallen foes that have tried to take him out. His grappling chain like a pre-hellbound scorpion's, etched with symbols from forgotten cults, maybe even whispering to itself. According to lore hints, WYLDER is a rogue survivalist from the Thorn Realms, a region swallowed by night, where only the savage or clever endure. He's seen what's coming, lived through it, and now he fights, not for honor, but instinct. He doesn't worship grace, he doesn't fear the dark, he uses it, like a weapon, like a tool. WYLDER doesn't run from Nightreign, he runs into it, laughing. Why, oh why, with all this badass kit, is WYLDER number 4 for me? Because he's pure kinetic joy, the kind of class you pick up when you want every encounter to feel like a stunt show with blades. The grappling system alone makes me want to replay every boss in the game. How does that system interact with dragons, with rooftop mobs, with vertical exploration? He's not the flashiest caster or the toughest tank, but Wilder feels alive. Every fight is a sandbox, and every moment feels earned. If the combat system in Nightreign leans heavily into verticality and dynamic arenas, Wilder might end up being the sleeper OP pick. I'll definitely play him, maybe not first, maybe not last, but at some point, and I'm going full grapple goblin and never looking back. We have reached the top 3, and once again, everything from this character is pure speculation. At number 3, we have the Revenant, a class that can only be described of a mix of eldritch horror, necromantic power, and tragic beauty. This is not just a summoner, this is the Queen of the Dead, a mistress of the spirit realm. If you've ever wanted to raise a ghost army and let your summoned minions do all the dirty work, Revenant is the class you've been dreaming of. But be warned, this class is not for the faint of heart. Revenant is a summoner, but not in the traditional sense. Forget about your classic mage with a few weak minions here and there. The Revenant can conjure spirits of all shapes and sizes, each with unique abilities that take over the battlefield for you. Instead of managing a handful of basic summons, the Revenant has access to an entire spirit army, including spectral wolves, humanoid warriors, and otherworldly creatures that wreak havoc on the field. You can also channel spirits directly, giving you buffs, debuffs, and even active skill swaps in mid-combat. This isn't just about being a support character, it's about taking control of the battlefield through sheer numbers and spirits, and letting the dead fight for you. The signature mechanic would be to summon your legion. At the core of the Revenant's playstyle is the ability to summon a diverse army of spirits. These could range from feral wolves that pounce on enemies and cause bleeding, spectral knights that fight alongside you with armor and swords, ghostly archers who take pot shots from a distance, and ancient relics, which are powerful but slow-moving constructs that buff nearby allies. The more powerful the spirit summon, the more FP it consumes. You'll need to constantly balance between spending resources and summoning powerful entities, and keeping enough in the tank for your own combat needs. Let's give them the passive of Spiritual Convergence. Each time you summon a spirit, a passive effect triggers. Depending on the type of spirit you summon, this effect can be increased defense while summoning the knights or the large creatures, healing over time when summoning spirit healers and peaceful entities, and buffs to damage when summoning aggressive spirits like the wolves. But the real kicker is when you summon multiple types of spirits at once. Doing so empowers their abilities, allowing your army to become a rampaging force that can tear through enemy lines. And for the ultimate, we'll say Spectral Dominion. The Revenant's ultimate ability is an absolute game changer. This skill allows you to raise an entire spectral army that swarm the battlefield and deal devastating AoE damage. It's like unleashing a mini-boss army that attacks automatically. While they're active, your other spirits gain a massive boost in power, and you receive a short buff that allows you to passively summon spirits even when out of FP. This makes Revenant incredibly useful for prolonged fights, especially against bosses or large-scale mob battles where you need the overwhelming numbers. Their pros? They've got massive potential for solo play thanks to the Spirit Army. They offer a high variety in playstyle based on spirit summons, can provide both offensive and defensive utility, incredible synergy in team-based play, and very strong against crowd control and mobs. Their cons: FP management can be tricky. Running out of resources means you lose your summons. Relies on heavy AI-controlled units, which can occasionally be inefficient or idiotic. Low direct combat capabilities. Revenant isn't built to get close up and personal, and hard to master due to the complexity of the summons. The Revenant's aesthetic screams otherworldly, porcelain-like skin because it quite literally is. This woman from a glance is obviously a doll, like Ronnie from the base game. However, instead of forearms, she seems to just have the two. Her white garb screams purity, like the spirits that she summons, but look close enough and you can see the cracks in her facade, quite literally in the cracks in her skin that let blue shine through. And another place her pure intentions are shattered is in the silver claws on the last two fingers on her left hand. Lore-wise, Revenants are believed to be once great mages who made bargains with forgotten cosmic forces, trading their own bodies in exchange for dominion over the spirit realm. Now they command legions of ethereal beings that carry out their will, from unassuming apparitions to ferocious beasts. Their ultimate goal? To unlock the forgotten arts of resurrection and transcendence. Some even claim that revenants can snatch souls from the afterlife, bind them to their will, and send them on a dangerous quest, a practice that has earned them both reverence and fear across the lands between. Why does Revenant sit at number 3 for me? Well, because I am all about that spirit army. The aesthetic, the lore, and the mechanics all come together to create a class that just feels powerful. I love how Revenant gives me the opportunity to play an entirely different game, where instead of soloing bosses, I get to command minions and let them do the heavy lifting. However, the learning curve here is steep. You've got to manage FP, balance the strength of your summons, and sometimes play more cautious than you'd like, since you're not great in direct combat. But when it clicks, the Revenant becomes a powerhouse. I see this class shining in solo play, where you can easily overwhelm enemies with sheer numbers of spirits at your disposal. It also has immense potential in co-op play, where you can create absolute chaos while your team works in tandem to tear through bosses. Will I main this class? Maybe. But I'm definitely going to spend some serious time experimenting with it. The idea of commanding spirits, of essentially playing a necromancer, is just too cool to ignore. At number 2, we have the Duchess, the Royal Assassin, and she is absolutely dripping with style, grace, and lethal efficiency. Think stealth, speed, elegance, combined with deadly precision that makes her the perfect class for those who want to feel like they're playing 4D chess while everyone else is stuck in checkers. The Duchess is for players who like the idea of finishing off their enemies with a single, well-timed strike. She's the assassin you send in to clear a path, the one who disappears before you even knew she was there. If you're into fast, fluid combat with a focus on stealth and critical strikes, this is your class. The Duchess is an agile melee assassin designed for players who prefer finesse over raw damage output. She's not about charging into the fray with heavy armor and slow weapons. No, the Duchess dances around her foes, striking where they least expect it and vanishing before they can retaliate. Her core mechanics revolve around stealth attacks. The Duchess can blend into her surroundings, making it incredibly hard to detect. This allows her to approach enemies without being noticed and get the drop on them with devastating surprise attacks. Critical hits. When the Duchess lands a sneak attack or catches an enemy off guard, her strikes do insane damage. She excels at backstabs, sneak kills, and flanking, turning her into a nightmare for bosses. And her speed and agility. This class relies on quick, fluid movements, dodging, rolling, and striking with pinpoint accuracy. It's all about staying light on your feet and using your speed as your weapon. Her passive skill is Magnificent Poise. Attack and dodge optimally, dodging repeatedly when necessary. Every movement is perfect as she dodges through attacks and counters with every fiber of her body being taut like a snake, waiting to pounce on the weak, unexpecting victim. Her signature move is called Restage, and according to the skill, you stage a reprisal of recent occurrences to damage nearby foes. Now what the hell does that mean, you might ask? Well, like Shang Tsung, you pull the soul out of your opponent, and all the previous damage that they took is reapplied as they develop full PTSD, except worse due to the fact that the damage is redone to him from all sources. Imagine your Guardian just comboed with you and your Wilder, and you activate this attack, and you just see the soul of this poor guy go flying like his body just did. And her ultimate is called Finale. You have a hard fight that you need to set up for, but all lines of sight are covered. Don't worry, just make your whole team into perfect rogues. This ability is an AoE stealth skill. Invisibility, yes please. 3 tough enemies become a lot easier if you start with group backstabs after all. Fuck yeah. The pros to this class is it's got an incredibly high skill ceiling. The Duchess is one of the hardest classes to master, but once you do, you become a lethal force. Fast and fluid combat, her agility and speed make her feel responsive and satisfying to play. Stealth plus crits equals devastating combos, making her one of the best assassins in the game. Strong in both solo and group play, as her skills can disrupt enemies and deal massive damage in short bursts. Cons: fragile, the Duchess is squishy. If you get caught, it's likely you'll be downed quickly. Her low health pool means you need to stay mobile. She's got a steep learning curve. You need to master timing, positioning, and stealth mechanics to get the most out of the Duchess. Requires positioning. She is heavily reliant on precise, well-timed attacks. If you miss the critical backstab or you fail to land the stealth attack, it can feel like you've wasted your opportunity. And they're weak against large mobs. While she exceeds at picking off isolated targets, she's not as effective when facing large groups of enemies that can overwhelm her. The Duchess is the vision of grace and deadliness, clad in sleek, dark armor with royal flourishes. She combines noble elegance with assassin stealth. Her weapon of choice are daggers, light, fast, and razor sharp, perfect for quick strikes and rapid attacks. Lore-wise, the Duchess is often depicted as the last living member of an ancient royal house that fell from grace due to betrayal. Her mastery over stealth and assassinations make her a shadowy figure in the world of the lands between, often working in the shadows to manipulate events from afar. There's a cold beauty in her actions. She strikes with the elegance of a noblewoman, but each kill is a calculated move in her greater quest for revenge, reflecting her desire to take back what was lost, to reclaim her rightful place on the throne, even if it means doing so with blood on her hands. Why is such a badass character at number 2? Well, she's unstoppable in the right hands, a perfect blend of elegance and brutality. Playing her feels like being part of a royal assassination squad, swift, deadly, and with a sense of immense satisfaction after a perfectly executed strike. I love how the Duchess rewards patience, precision, and planning. This class is for players who enjoy mastering a high skill ceiling, weaving through enemies, delivering that epic backstab at just the right moment. The downside, of course, is that she's fragile. If you misstep, if you're detected, or if you fail to execute that perfect backstab, you could find yourself in a world of trouble. But when played well, the Duchess is the stuff of legends, capable of turning any encounter into an artful display of skill. For me, this class isn't just about the gameplay, it's about the immersion, the concept of playing a royal assassin who plays the game like a chess match. Pure perfection. She might not be my number 1 pick, but she's damn close. And finally, we've reached the top spot, the class that will make you rethink everything you knew about ranged combat in Elden Ring, Nightreign. The class that's about to make bows meta again. You guessed it, folks, and if you've been on the channel long enough, you should have known this was going to be my choice. Ironeye takes the crown as my number 1. At first glance, Ironeye might seem like it's just another archer, but trust me, this class is far more than just shooting arrows. There's a complete rework of the bow as a weapon, making it feel more dynamic, satisfying, game-changing than ever before. You thought you knew ranged combat? Think again. Ironeye is a bow-based class that completely reinvents how bows function in Elden Ring. Gone are the days of slow, methodic shots from a distance. Ironeye is all about fluid movement, high-speed firing, and devastating precision. What makes the Ironeye stand out? Fast-firing bow mechanics. Unlike the slow, cumbersome archery setups you've seen in previous games, Ironeye's bow is built for speed. You can shoot rapidly, maintaining pressure on the enemy without waiting for your next shot. Roll shot animations. Ironeye can fire while rolling, allowing for more dynamic playstyle. You can evade attacks while still maintaining your ranged offense, keeping the pressure on your enemies while staying at a safe distance. No more arrow inventory. Gone are the days of hoarding arrows for your bow. Ironeye's bow runs on a unique resource system that allows for endless firing, meaning you won't ever run out of ammo in the heat of battle. Acrobatic movement. If you love high mobility, you feel right at home with the Ironeye. This class has increased movement speed and dodge distance, giving you the ability to stay agile while keeping away from your enemies. His signature skill is the mechanic to mark people. Ironeye's defining ability is the Mark, a skill that changes the game when it comes to teamwork and damage output. Here's how it works. Mark is a specific debuff the Ironeye applies to the target by dashing through them and stabbing them with a quick, precise strike. The moment this happens, the target becomes marked, and any damage they take from all sources, not just the Ironeye, is amplified by a significant percentage for a short time. This means you can set up devastating combos, chain massive damage, and coordinate with your team for maximum impact. If your allies are ready to capitalize on the Mark, they can melt through the enemy's health bar in no time. But that's not all for the Ironeye's Mark. If you hit an opponent with Mark, it doesn't just make their health drop faster, it makes their damage resistance weaker. opening up the field for all kinds of devastating play. Their ultimate is the single shot, and that sounds kind of lame, but when it comes to the Ironeye's ultimate ability, single shot isn't exactly what it sounds like. Yes, it's a single shot, but it's a massive shot that pierces through everything in its path. This shot is armor piercing, can break through even the toughest of defenses, dealing massive damage to both enemies and bosses. It has an AoE effect, where it doesn't just hit one target, it hits everything in its line of sight, wiping out any mob that stands in its way. And you have invincibility while using it. While firing, Ironeye is completely invulnerable, making it an extremely powerful tool for turning the tide of any battle. Imagine this, you're in a team fight and you single out the enemy tank, mark them, and then activate single shot. The damage is absolutely devastating. And while you're doing it, you're safe from harm. This ultimate ability isn't just a game changer, it's a match winner. The pros of this class are incredible utility. Ironeye doesn't just deal damage, he buffs allies and debuffs enemies. His playstyle is perfect for both solo and team-based battles. He has safe ranged playstyle. You know, if you love playing from a distance and avoiding direct combat, Ironeye is the class for you. His mobility and quick shots allow him to keep enemies at arm's length. His bow finally feels viable. For those of us who love archery but feel like it was underpowered in the previous Elden Ring title, Ironeye makes the bow feel like a legitimate weapon again. It's fast, agile, and absolutely devastating when used correctly. We have high damage output. The combination of fast firing, the mark debuff, and single shot ensures the Ironeye can decimate enemies, especially in team compositions. Oh, and he can heal down allies from a distance without having to use any resources. But with every great class, there's still cons. He is squishy. Ironeye isn't exactly tank material. He relies heavily on mobility and range, but if you get caught out of position, you'll be taken down fast. To get the most out of the Ironeye's mark and single shot, you need good aim and precise movement. If you're a fan of spamming and not focusing on aim, this might not be the class for you. Requires good team coordination. While the Ironeye's abilities work great solo, he shines brightest when working with a coordinated team. If your allies aren't paying attention, some of his most powerful abilities won't be as effective. And you have a high skill ceiling. Mastering Ironeye takes time. You need to know when to mark, when to use single shot, and how to manage your movement to avoid being overwhelmed. Ironeye's design is sleek, intimidating, and from some angles screams Green Arrow. Perfect for a ranged master. His gear is lightweight, with tactical armor that enhances his movement and agility, paired with a bow that feels like a high-tech weapon more than just a medieval tool. The bow itself is elegantly designed with intricate details that highlight its precision and versatility. In terms of lore, Ironeye is a mysterious figure, known for his flawless aim and ability to snipe enemies from impressive distances. Legend tells of his one-eye gaze, which is said to never miss its mark. He comes from a long line of shadowy archers, individuals who have honed their craft to an art, and who are called upon only when the stakes are life and death. In battle, Ironeye's precision is undeniable. He can wipe out entire squads with a single arrow, and his mark makes him an invaluable asset to any team. His ultimate single shot is said to be the weapon of kings, able to turn the tides of war in the blink of an eye. So why is Ironeye my number one? Because this class changes everything about how you think about ranged combat in Elden Ring. I mean, if you've been on the channel long enough, you saw my attempts at bow only runs, and you know my go-to is the stealth archer in most RPGs. He's not just another archer with a bow, he's a force of nature on the battlefield. The combination of speed, utility, and devastating power makes Ironeye the ultimate choice for players who want to dominate both PvE and those named remembrances. If you've ever wanted to be a master of ranged combat, picking off enemies from a distance while buffing your allies and melting bosses with precise shots, Ironeye is your class. The mark mechanic is ingenious, making him a strategy asset to any team, while single shot is the ultimate game changer. Oh, and I forgot to mention that bows have critical hits now, which they did not have in base Elden Ring, giving them one more badass way to slaughter your foes. For me, the Ironeye isn't just a class. I see him as the future of ranged combat. If you want to feel like a true Archer King, with the abilities that let you control the flow of battle, then Ironeye is your new main. With that, the 8 Nightfarers of Elden Ring Nightreign have been ranked, and the stage is set for an incredible journey. If you're just as hyped as I am for a new chapter in Elden Ring, drop a comment, share your thoughts on which class you'll main, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the deep dive. Hope you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you did, be good to each other, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.